Welcome to Bet On It. We are live for the first time this NFL season. It is Wednesday, January 5th. It is week 18 of the NFL. I am fresh off the airplane from Houston, so I appreciate you guys having a little patience for us not doing the show like we normally do. But let's bring in Marco and VR. We've got barking dogs for you guys. We've got those Steam games, trap games. No deli this week, obviously, because it is week 18, but welcome to the show, fellas.
Hey, thanks, Kelly, looking forward for doing the show. And I thought you were going to lead us in with a little conductor. We saw that last night at the Kansas State game. You were doing a hell of a job on the field.
I like to have a good time. Listen, it was a fun win. I think it was a much-needed Kansas State win. Unfortunately, we all know LSU was a little short-handed. Of course, I would have loved to have them have their full-strength team versus our full-strength team. But I am very appreciative for the LSU athletic department to go out and play that game shorthanded. I think I needed it. College football needed it. And, of course, you guys all needed to see me and Megan have entirely too many high noons and have a lot of fun with it. So it was a great time, and I'm happy to be here. And, again, thank you to you and VR, especially for being so flexible with my crazy schedule this week.
All right, we're ready to go.
I know. VR is going to sprinkle some gold for us here at some point in time in the show. You never know when it's going to be with him. He always likes to mix it up, but we're going to start off with these primetime games. Saturday, we've got a pair of games, but let's go to the late one. The Dallas Cowboys now 7.5-point favorites. 42.5 is the total at the Philadelphia Eagles. The look-ahead line here, Marco, was Dallas minus 3.5. If this one gets to Dallas minus 7.5, I might be tempted to tease them, but your thoughts on Saturday Night Football?
Yeah, Kelly, even at the 7, the only way I can look at the game is to look at the teaser, get them down to 1, just look to win the ball game here. This is a situation where both teams are in the playoffs, but yet both teams can better their positions. There's a lot of different scenarios here. One scenario actually has Dallas and Philadelphia playing each other next week if it happens. And really, if I'm Philadelphia, that's the least attractive of the scenarios. You don't want to play a division rival. It's tough enough playing them twice during the season and then to have to play them a third time, especially if somehow you beat them. I don't think you'd want to do that. So for me, I'm looking at Dallas. They're coming off a loss last week at home. Arizona got the ship righted. And I'm very happy for that one because that was a big play for me. That was my 5% play with Arizona. They got the job done. We had them as the best bet here on the show. So I think Dallas is going to be in a little bit of an angry mood, and they're going to want to come out and get the job done. For Philadelphia, you're in the playoffs. Just get in and get out. Don't get anybody hurt. That would be what I would do in this game. And, they managed to not get anybody really hurt in that game, and then leaving the field on Sunday, they almost get their quarterback hurt going through the tunnel with the collapse of the railing. I'm sure our producer, Dan, didn't like that, but that was a scary situation. And, Jalen Hurts dodged a bullet there. That could have been really bad.
That was crazy to see. FedEx Field might want to get some repairs there in the offseason. VR, I tweeted earlier regarding week 18 and how I kind of felt like I was in this weird uncharted territory, right? This is our first year. We've had an additional week. Now we've got all these different scenarios about who needs to play and why. Where's the motivation? We know that the Bengals have already said, hey, you know what? We're going to sit out. I have a feeling we're going to hear that from some other teams as well. And when we do, we're going to see those lines go absolutely crazy. So before you get into this one, I'm curious to hear how you're tackling week 18 and then your thoughts on Saturday Night Football.
Great question, because this is one of those unprecedented weeks. And more importantly, this year, because we don't have any sample size of a week 18 in the NFL to lean back on. So the best we could do is look at week 17 in the past. And this one pretty much matches up to all of those in past years, that last week of the season, with teams, some of them needing the win, some of them having no reason to play, others jostling for position. Those are factors we face year in and year out in all sports. The bottom line is are those factors quantified correctly, and are they quantified incorrectly, so we as bettors could possibly find value and make it worth laying 11 to win 10. Because I can't stress this enough. In a week like this, you got to be really cautious. You don't want to be where when Sunday kicks off, you're hoping to be the product of good luck. Remember what I said last week? When the Sunday games kicked off, I was already in a spot where I was going to need good luck because I did not place good bets. I had a +7 in my pocket and it kicked off at +13. Now, granted, it was because of COVID and I couldn't know that when I placed the bet, but the bottom line is it's still 6 points worse than what I have. And we know you can't argue it anymore. Listen, guys, I know, new bettors are always coming into the fold, and gambling Twitter will argue, and even losing bettors will act like they know for certainty that what they're saying is fact. Listen, don't take my opinion for it. Simply Google Pinnacle Sports. How do they identify winners? In the last 2 decades, no sports books been sharper than them, been willing to take bigger bets than them. They wrote a great piece on how they identify their winners. And all of them are focused around, do they beat the closing line? That's their bottom line, because they know that closing line has all the information factored into it, like COVID, like injuries, like weather. So if you're able to beat that number, you're going to win successfully. So what I'm saying is these lines, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because these lines are going to move significantly between Wednesday night, where we're doing it right now, and Sunday when they kick off. And even after for the later games, depending on what happened early. So you got to be really careful placing bets this early on. You have to be pretty damn sure that you're getting the best of it. And more importantly, that come Sunday, you won't be able to get a better number because of COVID, because of sitting players, because of no reason to play, or all those other factors, which I think are more or less baked into the cake. But we could argue that till tomorrow. But finally, with all that said, I placed one bet this week, and I'm going to release that as my best bet. It's a 4% best bet play I gave to subscribers. Everything else, I'm going to tell you is my opinion. And maybe between now and Sunday, I get to the window with some of these opinions, but most likely I'll have a lot more because things are going to change between now and Sunday. If there's one thing I know, that the betting syndicates do very well on weeks like this. They tend to get that information before everyone else. So, that's the most I could tell you is be very cautious this week. We're going to try to help you navigate through it. But never forget, you're laying 11 to win 10. You are paying admission to place a bet. Make sure you're getting the best of it. In this game, I haven't bet it. It's Dallas or pass. I kind of like the under also because I just don't see the Philadelphia offense doing much against this Dallas defense. Listen, don't let that yards per rush, yards per attempt fool you. This Dallas defense is 9th in rushing success, number 1 in passing success defensively. That's what matters most. Some of those stats you got to be cautious with because, listen, if it's 3rd and 1, a 2-yard rush, that's a successful run. That's a lot better than, 2nd and 20 rushing for 8 yards. You're still in 3rd and 12. That other rush for 2 yards got you a first down. So, yeah, that was more successful. So you got to be cautious in what metrics you pay attention to and how you weigh them. And everything to me points to Dallas is just so much better than Philadelphia, even though their records aren't that much different. Their 2 games set them apart. I think this line's warranted. If you got Dallas at that 3.5 or 4 number, kick your feet up, regardless of what happens. You got the best of it. You did your job. But from this point on, I'm not sure it's bettable, Kelly. Gun to my head, I'd say Dallas and under. But luckily, I don't have a gun to my head, so I don't have to bet this game right now.
Very good analogy. You do not have to bet every single game just because it's on Saturday night. Let's move on to Sunday night. The Los Angeles Chargers, 3-point favorites now, total 49.5 at the Las Vegas Raiders, pretty much across the screen at the WagerTalk odds screen. Marco, this one's tough. I know that you and I both love just ties so much, and this one has like an interesting scenario here if these two do win in a tie. But I think this one comes down to basically a coin flip, right? Who do you think is going to fight harder for this spot? And I kind of lean towards the Chargers here. Little full disclosure, I do have a bet on them to make the playoffs, a little plus 110 from the start of the season. Do you think I'm on the right side here?
Well, Kelly, this is definitely the most interesting game of the week because this is a true win and you're in, and that's why they moved it to the Sunday night game. I just want to elaborate one thing you talked about, how you attack the final week of the season. You have teams that obviously we're going to hear that phrase, they're in a must-win situation. Now, there's two different kinds of must-wins. There's the must-win like this, where you win and you're in, or, obviously if you lose, your playoffs are over. Then there's the other where you're just jockeying for position. And I treat those two differently because the teams that are jockeying for position, there's not that pressure on them. They know their season is going to extend next week. It's just where they're setting. So although they want to win, or maybe they're in a spot where they can win their division, so there's added pressure, it's not life or death pressure. And the reason I bring that up is these teams that are in the life and death pressure, you're going to pay a price for that in most instances. And a lot of times we use the phrase, teams play not to lose instead of playing to win. And that is not what you want to be doing if you're laying an inflated number. So understand your situation in each given game and where it is at. Now, for this game, as I said, this is a pure win and you're in. Comes down to the final game of the season. And I agree with you, Kelly, that on paper, the Chargers are the better team in this game. But I keep looking at this Raiders team, and I'll be honest, they've been a nemesis to me a few times this year where I've looked a step in front of them. One of them was last week against Indianapolis. And this is a team with everything that has gone wrong during the season. It has made them a better team for everybody that's left on the roster. It's almost like they've adopted an us against the world mentality. They lose their head coach, abruptly early in the season. Then the tragic incident with Ruggs. Then you had another player, booted off the team that does a social media video waving a gun saying he's going to kill somebody. Then you have a DUI this week. I mean, it's just one thing after another with this team. Yet they find ways to win. And I really do point to Derek Carr. I think this guy doesn't get enough credit. Sometimes, his play looks a little bit ugly, but yet the team believes in him and he finds a way to get this team to the winner's circle. Playing at home, first season in Vegas with fans, I just think it's another storybook ending. If I play this game, and I'm not saying that I'm going to get to the window, but right now, and I'll still VR's phrase, if you're going to put the gun to my head, I'm going to lean to the Raiders in this one.
VR, after listening to Marco talk about the hometown Raiders, I'm kind of wondering, look, I've got plus 110 on the Chargers to make the playoffs. Do I look towards the other side, maybe sprinkle a little bit on the plus 3? I can still win both bets. Your thoughts on Sunday Night Football?
You may want to sprinkle just for a little equity there if you have a ton of it to give up. Not a bad play. Real quickly, since we are live, I only bet 2 NBA games tonight. One was the Golden State Dallas. We went under 215 and under 214, and then under Utah Denver, under 224, under 223 and a half. It's sitting right around there still. If you agree, disagree, that's on you. The only college basketball I bet today was Gardner-Webb at -10 and -11. And then I also bet the under in East Carolina, Tulane. That's pretty much all I have. Probably the college probably went off. I apologize. That's what, if anything comes in as we're going through the show, I swear I keep looking. I'll pass it along. The only thing that keeps coming through is golf moves. And there's so many of them. Like I'd have to take up 10 minutes of the show to share them. And if you're not going to bet all of them, no use cherry picking any of them. So let's get back to football. Bottom line, this is a game I probably will get to the window with, meaning I feel a lot stronger than I do with the Dallas side because I missed the number with Dallas, obviously. I don't think I'm going to lay 7 with them. If it gets through 7, I may look to tease them. I like what Marco touched on, and we know low total, points matter most. So if I'm ever going to lay 120 on a teaser or greater than 120, like a lot of us do, I might as well use it when it's most advantageous to us, and that's probably that spot. In this one, here's what I like the Raiders a lot. What scares me is the off-field issues that this team continues to have. Like, how many of them can you have before it affects everybody, or before it actually, like, I don't know how to quantify that. You know what I mean? Like, what is it worth when that happens? We don't know. But eventually it can't be a positive, right? It's got to be a negative. And that's where I'm struggling with, and why I haven't gotten to the window yet with the Raiders. Because why wouldn't I bet this team in this spot? Number one, you look at two very evenly matched teams, at least on paper. If the Raiders could run the football, they would be a favorite in this game. Fortunately for them, though, they're going up against the Chargers, who are 32nd against the run in defensive success rate. So if this Raiders offense, which only rushes for 3.8 yards per attempt, is ever going to have success, this is probably going to be that game. And if they have any success running the football, this will be their game to lose. Mark that down. Because everywhere else they're comparable. They could hang with them passing the football. They could hang with them defending against the pass. And more importantly, like I said, you got a home team that's coming in with momentum, having won 3 straight games, and maybe a chip on their shoulder in the underdog spot here on Sunday night under the lights in their new stadium. It looks like a movie almost, but for me, it's Raiders or pass, and it looks like I may get 3 even money. So that's like I'll probably stamp that confirmation if it gets there, or wait for 3.5. But again, I just think this is a winnable game for the Raiders. I think the metrics show it is. Injury-wise, I don't have any problems. Just make sure the running back it says questionable, but this line would have moved significantly if he's not going to play. So just make sure that Raiders running back I can't even off the top of my head, is playing. Otherwise, they're good. I have both teams injury-wise. They're both pretty solid going into this week.
All right. VR says, make sure Josh Jacobs is playing if you're going to have a bet on the Raiders on Sunday night. And look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got a little fill in for some TNA, maybe talk some teasers for week 18.
What's new in the NFL this season? First ever NFL Week 18 regular season games, NFL playoffs with 6 wildcard games, including a Monday night wildcard game, and WagerTalk and Sports Memo handicappers lowering the price for the NFL playoffs. Last season, the NFL playoff pass was priced at $149, but this year, not only have we lowered the NFL playoff price to $119, but included NFL Week 18 for free. That's right, for $119, you get the final week of the regular season, plus the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl on February 13, 2022, including any 5% best bets. No coupon code is needed. Just go to your favorite handicappers page at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and choose the NFL playoff pass in the football dropdown. And don't forget, if you buy before this weekend, get the remainder of the NFL regular season included for free.
Welcome back to Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart, and normally this is where I'd bring in the man with the pin, the stat daddy himself, Ralph Michaels. But unfortunately, I forgot to text him and told him that I changed the show time today. So he said, I'm out. I'm going to have Marco fill in for me. So Marco, welcome to your very first Trends and Angles.
Oh, man, TNA, I wanted a poll and I was going to do a dance, but I got to get the pen out there. This is for you, Ralph. All right. Stat Daddy sent me what he was going to say on the show, so I'll try not to butcher it. And Kelly, he'll be back next week, and this is a rough week for Trends and Angles, obviously. As we said, this is week 18. It's uncharted water for us on how teams are going to handle this week. But we've got some of Ralph's favorites. I know one that you've cashed quite a bit this season, and there's 3 of them in play this week. And that is when you have a division away favorite of 8.5 or more points. This is now to the under. 10, 39 and 1. 10, 39, or excuse me, 10, 35 and 1, which that's 71.8% to the under in this one. In their 3 games that it applies to this week, Kansas City, Denver, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Tennessee, Houston. So look at those 3 games and look at the under, Stat Daddy says. Now, the last one is teams off a loss as a home favorite that has a win percentage of 65% or better. Last week, there was one of these, and that was the Arizona Cardinals. That came home a winner in Dallas, and now we've got another one, and that is Dallas, who was on the losing end of that play last week. Now they fit the system, and you're to take Dallas this week at Philadelphia. So, as Ralph would say, Kelly, there you have it. Take it to the bank. That's TNA for this week. And Stat Daddy will be back next week. Hopefully, we'll send him a text at what time we're doing it.
Yeah, right. I'm going to jump in the live comments here and see what you guys all thought of Marco's first TNA performance. But thank you, Marco. Those unders have just been absolutely money all season long. So if you guys are waiting for my card on Friday afternoon for the NFL, just go ahead and bet those now because those are pretty great numbers. I bet them earlier on the airplane because I saw that the trends were available. So thank you to Marco for filling in. VR, I would normally kick it to you now for teasers because that is a segment, but you told me you didn't have one. So I'm going to push you off to the side. I want you to go find us some
I'm going to share something. Don't worry. I got a little bit something for the viewers real quick. Here's a little prop for you. They're coming in. As I said, I only released 2 NBA plays, 2 college basketball plays, 2 subscribers. If the play started, I apologize. I don't know for certainty. Hopefully they haven't. And hopefully if they haven't and you piggyback, they do well. But these came through. Again, this year I'm being very selective, only releasing the strongest strong. So I'm not really messing with props on a every night. But these groups win. You know, you'll notice by the lines moving on them. The first one was Luka. They went under 41.5, plus 110 on points, rebounds, and assists. And then hold on, I'm going to pull up another one because they had a bigger one. Yeah. DeJounte Murray, under 17.5 points, minus 120, minus 125, and minus 130. Again, I don't know if it's a winner or not. I have action in it because I take a percentage of these accounts, but I only release piggyback and move on the stuff that I confirm as the strongest to my guys. So you won't see that on the WagerTalk stuff, but you'll notice those 4 plays, actually, I did give them out. And real quickly, the reason I'm not giving a teaser out is because I don't see the lines are going to move number 1. And the only game that falls under it as we go to tape, I think, is Tampa Bay. So if I can't find another sign for it, I'm not going to tease. And I'm going to say it one more time. Actually, I'm going to say it throughout this entire year and next year till you get sick of it, because the only way you're going to win betting sports and be in that 1% is if you place good bets. Don't place bad bets. And everyone, I get asked all the time when I'm walking through books, people ask on DMs, if you could give one thing, like what is this one thing that your success been able to win long term? And honestly, I've learned to avoid bad bets. Parlay isn't in my vocabulary. Teaser isn't in my vocabulary unless it's a Wong, because that's been proven to me to be profitable. I don't bet bad numbers. If the line moves, if I can't bring the boat back, I don't chase it. I'm not going to jump in the water and swim out and try to catch the boat. It's gone. Let it go. There's going to be another game. That's what you got to do. And the reason I bring that up before we go to Marco's teaser is Monday Night Football. If you don't conclude that over was one of the best bets you could possibly make, regardless of outcome, you're going to have a problem winning money betting sports. And I'm not saying that because I was on the wrong side of it. I'll make that bet every single day. I pray to God that I find those spots every day because those are the most advantageous. If you could bet an over 41 that closes 43.5 or 44 even at the sharpest books, and it's not public money moving it, it's not injuries, it's not suspensions, and you got out ahead of the market, whether the game lands 40 or 70 is irrelevant. You're going to win long-term doing that. So focus on placing good bets And if you're not wonging on teasers, you ain't winning on teasers. So that's all I know. I don't see a wong. I don't have one. But there's a couple props. If you could use them, use them. If not, I apologize. I'll try to bring some more stuff to you throughout the playoffs.
Awesome. Thank you for those player props, VR. I'm going to try to bet them while Marco is giving us his teaser.
All right, Kelly. Well, to piggyback off what VR just said, there are no perfect teasers this week. There are a couple that, we're pushing the envelope to do. And I wanted to give you guys something here on the show. And I went with the Dallas down to 1 because I just don't see Dallas losing to Philadelphia this week. Or should I say, I just don't see Philadelphia winning or wanting to win that ball game. But the other one that I'm going to go to is Arizona. And I like Arizona at home against Seattle. We've talked about this Seattle team many times that, they're out of the playoffs. They have a chance to play spoiler. But what are they playing spoiler for? They're not going to knock Arizona out of the playoffs. All they're going to do is determine whether Arizona can win the division or the Rams can win the division. They're both still going to the playoffs. And whether you believe the rumors or not, Russell Wilson, just like Aaron Rodgers, is not happy in Green Bay. Russell Wilson's not happy in Seattle. If you think that, Russell Wilson's going to be moving on, well, then last Sunday was his last home game, and they put up 51 points. So where's the motivation this week? Arizona got a very important win last week on the road at Dallas. And the biggest part of it was to get Kyler Murray back on track and get his confidence. I don't see them losing at home this week. So by using the 6-point teaser, I get them down to a 0.5 point, and they just have to win the game. Hook them with Dallas, who I feel will win the game in Philadelphia. That is the teaser for this week. Is it the perfect teaser or wrong teaser? No, it's not. So don't at me. But that is the teaser I'm giving for the show. That's where I feel the best value is if you're going to make a teaser this week.
All right. Thank you to Marco and VR. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got a steam game on the horizon. We also know that the deli is closed for the season. So we have a trap from Marco. And of course, we've got a couple barking dogs.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can now build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Sunday, January 16th at midnight, you can save 15% off your Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT15 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, John Ryan, Joseph D'Amico, and Rocketman. The combinations are endless, and you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make your dream lineup? Just go to WagerTalk or SportsMemo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand-select your handicapping roster. Don't forget, coupon code PYT15 will expire January 16th, so make sure to get your 15% discount.
Halfway through the show, that means it is time to figure out what Marco's brought to the table for us, and I already gave it away. I said the deli's closed for the season because it's week 18, so Marco has found us a nice little trap for this week.
Yeah, Kelly, and this one, this is one of those traps where people are going to look, I feel, and see the Rams, see that 5-game winning streak, see a number of 4.5, and I'm actually seeing this line coming down. There's a lot of 4s out there. They're going to say, hey, you know what? The Rams just have to win. San Francisco, we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. And the Rams are playing with revenge. Remember that Monday night game in San Francisco? They got their doors blown off. And, that 5-game winning streak, everything's fine in L.A. But if you look a little bit deeper, no, it's not. The Rams really should have lost the last 2 games. Minnesota played them toe-to-toe. That game came down to 1 score at the end, as all Minnesota Viking games seemed to happen, except last week when they had no players. And last week, The Rams were dead in the water and come back and gave Baltimore another heartbreaking loss. But if you look at the last 2 weeks, Matthew Stafford, he's supposed to be the savior of the Rams. 6 turnovers in 2 weeks for that Rams offense. I can't back them here. I think this one looks too easy to grab the Rams. I'm going to go ahead and look at San Francisco. The Rams, they got to prepare for 2 quarterbacks this week. Is it going to be Trey Lance? Is it going to be Jimmy G? Trey Lance last week, granted, it was against Houston. We'll put the asterisk out there, but they did have over 400 yards of offense. That gave him some confidence coming into this week. I think the Rams can hang, or excuse me, the 49ers can hang with the Rams, and I think this is a trap play for taking the Rams. I'll be on San Francisco plus the points. Too many people are going to think the Rams have to win a division. That's true. It doesn't mean they're going to get it done. Take the live dog with San Francisco, who has a lot to play for themselves.
Yes, they do. All right, VR. Every single week, you give us a line that is going to be on the move, and that is why it's called the Steam Game of the Week. Who is this week's Steam Game?
It's the New England Patriots. And the only caveat is they're a later game, and Buffalo, they're tied with Buffalo at 10-6. Buffalo plays earlier. Obviously, they're a huge favorite against the Jets. So you just have to factor that in. What happens early is going to affect late, even though we pretty much know what's going to happen early. That's why you're seeing this game move up. Already you saw some steam when it was at that 5.5 number. Now we're looking at that 6.5. And don't be surprised to see 7, especially with Miami eliminated and not having any reason to show up. Bottom line is this. They've beaten New England 3 of the last 4. This isn't a team that New England's just going to overlook. And the problem Miami's going to have is scoring. If you can't score, you're going to have a problem beating this version of the Patriots the way they're playing right now. Miami got lucky in their season meetings with the Patriots, meaning they caught them the first week of September, first month, of the season, week 1, week 2, and where 16, 17 points was enough to beat New England. That's not enough to beat New England anymore. You have to score more than that. And Miami just isn't one of those teams that you could depend on doing that. Sure, they put up 31 against the Jets, but it's not a team that's consistently, you could even look to putting over 20 plus points. And I think New England offense, you see they're rolling. Coming off a 50-point win, usually a team would be overvalued in that spot. But this is a divisional game. Miami beat them already earlier in the season. And this is a pretty hefty number that you're laying to a team like the Miami Dolphins, who have won 7 of their last 8 games coming into this one. So it shows you a lot on how high this number is. And again, I think it's warranted. The metrics reflected in the fact, again, Miami will have issues putting up points. And I think that's where Patriots will get that margin and be able to cover that touchdown and win this one by double digits or greater. Because Miami's, as New England extends lead, Miami's just going to have no reason to play. They're going to be booking that vacation. They're already going to be at Atlantis in Dubai and in the Caribbean and booking already where they're going and vacation. If they fall behind, it's over. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So Patriots, before it gets to 7, I'd get on it. I like that side.
All right. Thank you, VR, for that Steam game. Before we get into Barking Dogs, Marco wanted to pop on. He's got a little story for you guys.
Yeah, guys. First of all, I want to thank you guys last week. I know I scared a lot of you in smashing the like button. I love the comments on YouTube last week. And I do go in and read them, as does Kelly and VR. And, we love it. Just can't, reply to everybody. But I'm going to ask you guys for one more favor this week. And I'm going to give you a story of why I want you to help us out. And it's about going to the YouTube channel and hitting the subscribe button. We're at 90,000 subscribers. I really want to get us to 100,000. And I want to tell you why and the story behind it. In 3 days, I am going to officially have been in Las Vegas for 14 years. It was January 8th, 2008 that I moved to Vegas. One of the first assignments I had, and a lot of you that have followed me from the start know that I was somewhere else before. We won't mention that place or that person. But one of the first assignments that I had when I came here was I was told to go meet and have a lunch with this guy in Las Vegas. Wanted me to go see if this guy was the real deal and if he had a future in this business. Well, I went and met that guy, and we ended up having a 2.5-hour lunch that day. Might even have been 3 hours. When I came back to the office and reported back, first thing said was, "Hey, how did it go? What did you think of this guy?" I said, "He's the real deal." I also said, and I also witnessed a podcast. And the person looked at me and started to laugh and said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What I experienced in that 2.5, 3-hour lunch, talking back and forth, was a podcast." And he goes, "Nobody wants to listen to you two on a podcast." Okay. Anybody that knows me personally knows I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. Okay. And for 6 months, I badgered and badgered saying I wanted a podcast. Finally, just to shut me up, this unnamed person said, "You know what? You want to do a podcast? Go ahead and do it. Do it on your own, though. It's on your own time." So I called this guy up that I had that meeting with, and I said, "What do you think about doing a podcast with me?" And said, "Hell yeah." And the two of us in my condo on the south end of the strip, and I'm going to really date myself because I know nothing about podcasts. We did a podcast at my kitchen table with me on one side of the table, and directly across from me was my man Ace VR. We had the old snowball microphone from the old Apple microphone, my computer in GarageBand. That's how old it was. And we did those early podcasts. And from there, well, you saw what it built to. My buddy, I want to give a shout out to Jeff Ziddick, my good friend back in Pennsylvania, who happens to be the track announcer at the Meadows where I race my horses. He helped me with going video with some of our stuff. And now here we are 14 years later at WagerTalk, 10,000 subscribers away from 100,000. Now this is the greedy me. I want you guys to hit that subscribe button. Why? Because YouTube, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, sends you a nice plaque, put on your wall. It's the push play button for the YouTube logo. And I want to be able that every time we look at that in the WagerTalk offices to say, yeah, we were right and somebody was wrong. It's a little personal, maybe F you on the side for laughing at us. But that's how all of this began, guys. So do me that favor. Go to YouTube. Takes you 10 seconds. Just hit the subscribe button. I want to get to 100,000.
VR, do you have any comments? You're just sitting there with a shit-eating grin on your face.
I love it. And I was just going to say, honestly, that is a perfect example also of that nothing comes easily and nothing comes overnight. It appears that way when someone pops up and we see them, whether it's on social media or on videos all of a sudden, but rest assured, they were grinding somewhere for at least 5, 7, 10 years before anyone heard their name. Unless, again, some people get lucky and he immediately gets out there. But more times than not, anyone that I've met in any field, not just this industry, but in any walk of life that is successful, they've all had the same story. Like they put in a lot of years. And the reason I bring that up is because I get a ton of, and I just don't have time to answer them, DMs from guys asking that want to get into this industry. What do they do? What do they do? What do they do? And honestly, my answer's going to always be the same, and I just don't have time to do it. And it's simple. Outwork everyone else. That's the only thing you can do. Like you can't control anything else. Don't try to copy, learn from others, but the only thing you can control is outworking others. Like you're born with the intelligence you're born with, your family, whatever your circumstances, but what you can control is outworking everyone. Put in that work and rest assured, no matter what it is, whether it's sports betting, school, any career, you're going to do well. But it isn't going to come easy. And like Marco said, 14 years ago is when we sat down and started trying to build an audience. And yeah, we have one and we love you for it. But it just goes to show you, nothing comes easy, guys. And thank you. Thank you for helping us get here. And yeah, fuck that guy we ain't naming too, Marco. I agree.
Oh, this is why I had to get the VR comment. No, honestly, this is what the craziest part of this progression was, because I obviously was not a part of that original podcast, but I did join WagerTalk coincidentally. Ace joined WagerTalk that exact same week. That was part of.
No, we were not to go long on this because we're doing a show, but we were meeting and having lunch and stuff before we've ever even worked together, because it was just everyone learning from each other back then. We were all grinding and aiming for the same thing. Learn how to win and put out content to build a brand in this industry. And fortunately, we had a circle of people that worked together, but all of us were back there 10, 15 years ago that Marco's talking about. Whether, we were doing different things, we were all still near each other. There's like interwebs with everyone. It's so funny.
It really is. And then, joining at WagerTalk, and then Marco comes in and says, hey, you know what? I really want to do a standalone show, not just these videos in studio. And then we get booted from the studio because of COVID. And now here we are doing live shows. I love to see it. And we will not take any more of your time. But like Marco said, please subscribe, because I want that $100,000 plaque in my office, even though I know Johnny Detroit's going to be the one that gets to be the recipient of it. That being said, maybe I'll get a replica made for myself. It has been a really fun progression since I've joined WagerTalk as well. Marco, I'm going to kick it back to you first. Barking dogs, who do you think's got a shot to win outright this week?
All right. Now, after I just gave all that love to VR, and now I got to go against them in the play here, I got Miami. And this is the exact same scenario as last week with Philadelphia and Washington. Now, for the show, I got graded as a loss because when we put it out, Washington was plus 3.5. The game closed at 6.5 and waited, till later in the week to make the play before I gave it to my actual subscribers. But this is the same thing. The market, I think, is overreacting to this game. I know New England has a ton to play for, and I know Miami was eliminated last week. But going into last week, you were looking at a line of New England minus 2.5. Now, because of last week's results, Miami is out. New England's still trying to get the AFC East Division crown. They move this line 4 points without an injury. That's a lot. And I know the narrative's going to be, hey, Miami's who we thought they were. That 7-game winning streak, they were as counterfeit as a $3 bill. They only beat one team with a winning record in there, and that one team was a Thursday night game against Baltimore, and we saw what's happened to Baltimore the second half of the season. I get all of that, but you're asking a team to lay a lot of points on the road, and they're coming off scoring 50 points last week. I just can't do it. That's not in my DNA. I don't think Miami rolls over because this is a division game, because it is Bill Belichick. They're going to play well in this game. Yes, you run the risk if they fall behind by 2 scores, a team that's out of the playoffs can pack it in, but I just don't think that's going to happen here. I like Miami. I'm going to hold off and look for the 7. I'm going to get graded at 6.5 here on the show because that's what the line is now. But I'm telling you, like Ace said, if you like New England, play it now at 6.5. If you like Miami, wait till later in the week. I think you're going to see the 7.
All right. We got a little head-to-head action. VR, who is your barking dog for this week?
I agree with Marco, and I'm using the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this line is dropping, but it's still relatively high enough that I think the value is there. I just don't think the Rams should be this big of a favorite in this spot, meaning San Francisco's been a disappointment. They should have more wins, I think, with the talent they have, and even based on their stats, like what they've been able to produce this season. Like, even when you match up just in this game and not even real advanced things, you don't see where the Rams have any big advantages. Look at yards per rush, right? Whether it's offense or defense, they're right there equal with each other. Yards per pass attempt, right there. Yards per completion, right there. All those kind of little stats, they're almost identical on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Then I look at success rate, something I'm really high on. And when I look at San Francisco, their defense jumps off the page. 5th against the rush, 5th against the pass. The Rams on the defensive side, 19th and 16th respectively. When I'm catching points with the better defense, that's a good spot to be in. And when I got a top 5 defense, both against the rush and against the pass, it's just a spot I'm going to want to bet. Again, the Rams are one of those teams that get action each and every week. And I'm hoping this line climbs back up, but I'm comfortable betting it at 4 right now. So that's what I'm using it for to show as my dog, because I think they could win this game outright. I really do.
Well, I would love to carry this conversation over into the best bet segment, but I'm going to have to wait and take a quick commercial break.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase. What's new in the NFL this season? First ever NFL Week 18 regular season games, NFL playoffs with 6 wildcard games, including a Monday night wildcard game, and WagerTalk and Sports Memo handicappers lowering the price for the NFL playoffs. Last season, the NFL playoff pass was priced at $149, but this year, not only have we lowered the NFL playoff price to $119, but included NFL Week 18 for free. That's right, for $119, you get the final week of the regular season, plus the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl on February 13, 2022, including any 5% best bets. No coupon code is needed. Just go to your favorite handicappers page at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and choose the NFL playoff pass in the football dropdown. And don't forget, if you buy before this weekend, get the remainder of the NFL regular season included for free.
Welcome back to Bet On. And as I said before that commercial break, I wish we could have kept the conversation going because Marco and VR have done all the hard work for me on my best bet this week. I tweeted out earlier what a cesspool I thought this week was going to be. I'm going to have to dig really deep. I crossed a lot of games just off because I didn't even want to get involved. But this one caught my eye. Why? Because the 49ers can clinch a playoff spot if they can get a win over the Rams. And like VR likes to say, 80% of the NFL is just pick the winner. He finished his analysis off with, he thinks that the Niners are probably worth a money line sprinkle, and I agree. San Francisco has had this Rams team's number. Look, I know they just got Matthew Stafford this year, but the Niners rolled this team as an underdog at home. I think they're going to have another strong defensive effort here. Now, again, no disrespect to Matthew Stafford, but he's been a little off lately. We've seen back spasms throughout the season, kind of glimpses of what the hell is he doing. And we did see those, even though they did cover against Minnesota just last week. So against a good 49ers team who is fighting for a playoff spot, I got to take the points here. I just found a 4.5 over at the WagerTalk odds screen. I'm going to take that and take a plus little sprinkle on the plus 185 as well. Marco, who is your best bet for NFL Week 18?
Well, guys, I know it didn't work out the way we wanted on Monday night. I was on the over with Ace as well. And then I had come back in, as I said, I probably was going to do and have teasers. And, man, it's a good thing it wasn't a live broadcast when Najee Harris went down the sidelines at the end of the game to kill those teasers. And I knew it was going to happen. I was at a bar with our good friend Sig, and I said, this isn't going to end well for me. He goes, oh, you're good. He's just going to get the first down and kneel. I said, no, they're going to tackle the football. If he breaks the outside containment, he's gone. And that's what happened. But this week, guys, I got to go against the Steelers. I know they're still alive for a playoff spot, but they would need an absolute miracle. That miracle would be Jacksonville to beat Indianapolis and them to beat Baltimore. Baltimore still has slim hopes for the playoffs as well. They need pretty much the same scenario. So it's not like Baltimore has nothing to play for, but it is Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And we know John Harbaugh, whether the game means anything or not. Just go back and look at preseason records. This guy plays to win all the time. And if you watch that Monday night game, it was almost too good. It was a storybook ending for Ben Roethlisberger. You can't be, obviously I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and it hit me even more. But if you saw the electricity in that stadium, and if you looked at any of the beat writers, not just the Pittsburgh beat writers, the NFL Network beat writers, everybody was tweeting about all of the, they've covered this team and this stadium for years. They've never seen anything like it. What a send-off it was for Ben. How in the world does this team come close to matching that intensity on the road in Baltimore? And you want to talk about a frustrating season for Baltimore. They're 8-8. 4 of their 8 losses have been by 3 points or less. This is a team that's been snake bit all year. I look for them to go out and let it all hang out. And if you saw the game last week, yeah, Pittsburgh won, but it was ugly. The only reason they won was Harris had his biggest day as an NFL pro running the football. And Baker Mayfield was absolutely horrendous. Why they didn't bench him at halftime is absolutely baffles me. I know he's your supposed franchise quarterback, but when you come around and say that they're sitting him in week 18 because of an injured shoulder, why didn't you just pull him at halftime and you had your out? You didn't have to embarrass him by, benching him in the game. He was hurt. So Pittsburgh was lucky to win by the margin they did, and they struggled for every point they got. That's not going to happen this week. They're going to be in trouble against Baltimore. I'm laying the wood with Baltimore. I think Baltimore goes out a winner. John Harbaugh just wins, whether the game means anything or not. He plays to win. Let's say that. I think he gets the job done this week. I'm all over Baltimore.
All right. Ariel Epstein's going to be happy to hear that one. The Ravens can go out with a nice win. VR, I'm sitting here looking at the college basketball game that I missed probably by 30 seconds. Gardner-Webb up 64-38 with 13 minutes left. So I'm going to need another winner from you going into this weekend.
I'll send one. Don't worry. I'll text you a good one. I'll wait for gold to come through. I'll send you one. I promise. You could even tweet it.
That sounds awesome. Let me know who your best bet is for this week.
I found a gem, and when I sent it this morning, it was -3, and now it's 3.5, and that's what I'm going to have to get it graded at. And I'm still willing to make it a best bet because I think there's that much value here. Bottom line is this: I always look for those regressions and those outliers, and we have one for the national championship. We'll get to that Monday. But first, for this best bet, it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. And here's why. You're looking at a team that beat Chicago just a week or so back, a couple weeks back, by a little more than a touchdown, by 8 points, okay? And if you dig into the box score, what you're going to see is Chicago dominated that game, meaning they had 24 first downs compared to only 13 for Minnesota. They threw for 255 yards compared for only 61 for Minnesota. All these stats on the Chicago side, and you're wondering, how did they lose that game? Well, because they had 4 fumbles, and 3 of them they managed to lose. Now, randomness said they only should have lost 2 of them, so they lost 1 more than they should have. But it's the turnovers that did them in. You're not going to win games like that. Here's where the outlier is. Some would assume that I'm talking about Chicago, meaning they outplayed them, so they should progress towards their mean, meaning the turnovers shouldn't cost them this time. And if they just play that game, they should be able to win. No. What you need to pay attention to is the betting line and what happened with the Minnesota side, because Minnesota was a 7-point favorite on the road in that game. They were supposed to dominate that team that Sunday. But what happened? They played their worst game of the season. Again, like I said, 13 first down, 61 yards passing, 12 for 24, only 24 passing attempts, only 12 completions. They punted 7 times to only 3 for Chicago. They played their worst game, and yet they still won. That was their outlier. They're not going to show up and play that same game again. Chicago's not going to get that benefit. And they're going to get that Minnesota team that went in there as a 7-point favorite. Now they're only a field goal at home. This game doesn't matter for either of these teams, but Minnesota's just that much better. And I really do think they're going to have no problem pulling away. And again, another team on the road is going to find themselves behind and already start planning their vacation. I like the Vikings in this spot. Comfortable making it at -3.5, my best bet. Let's go Minnesota. Already got to the window with it at -3, but I like them that much. Go Vikings.
All right, go Vikings, go Niners, and go Ravens. Those are our best bets for Week 18. We're going to take our last commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap it all up for you guys that are not watching live and just scrolled all the way to the end.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can now build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Sunday, January 16th at midnight, you can save 15% off your Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT15 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, John Ryan, Joseph D'Amico, and Rocketman. The combinations are endless, and you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make your dream lineup? Just go to WagerTalk or SportsMemo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand-select your handicapping roster. Don't forget, coupon code PYT15 will expire January 16th, so make sure to get your 15% discount.
All right, this is where I wrap it all up for you guys and put a pretty little bow on it. Saturday night, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. VR says if you're going to put a gun to his head, he'll take Dallas. But luckily, there isn't one. Marco said he'll take Dallas in some teasers. And I would agree with him at 7.5, which is where I think this game is headed. I will do the same. As far as Sunday night goes, the guys are breaking my heart here, saying we got to take the hometown Las Vegas Raiders +3, when all I need is the Chargers just to win and get into the playoffs. For my futures bet, we shall see how that one pans out. VR said there's no wongable teasers this week, at least not at the time of the show airing, so he's going to pass. Marco says he'll break a little rule here or there. He's going to take that leg with Dallas and then also Arizona down to a half. Steam game of the week, though, is New England, and this is where he's head-to-head with Marco's barking dog, which is Miami. Something's got to give. But what I really enjoy is the trap game. VR's barking dog and my best bet are all the San Francisco 49ers +4.5. But like I said, you probably don't even need it. Take that +185. They're going to get the W. Who also is going to get the W, and hopefully the cover is Minnesota for VR and Baltimore for Marco. Guys, this was a fun one. We haven't done a live show in a long time, so I hope you guys enjoyed tuning in and made fun of all of my blurbs. We will be back Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. We're going to chat the SEC championship, the national championship game from Gianni, Marco, Ralph, VR, myself, Ace. He's got all the freaking nicknames, so I'm going to list them all off. Good luck until
proper
next
pronouns,
week.
Kel. Proper pronouns, please.
What's new in the NFL this season? First ever NFL Week 18 regular season games. NFL playoffs with 6 wildcard games, including a Monday night wildcard game. And WagerTalk and SportsMemo handicappers lowering the price for the NFL playoffs. Last season, the NFL playoff pass was priced at $149, but this year, not only have we lowered the NFL playoff price to $119, but included NFL Week 18 for free. That's right. For $119, you get the final week of the regular season, plus the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl on February 13, 2022, including any 5% best bets. No coupon code is needed. Just go to your favorite handicappers page at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and choose the NFL Playoff Pass in the football dropdown. And don't forget, if you buy before this weekend, get the remainder of the NFL regular season included for free.